The Sacramento Kings pulled off a heist to close off this year's trade deadline as the team brought in Jake Lavaria at a very, very cheap bargain. A very, very small package had to get sent out to acquire a guy that we brought up is a target style of player for this Kings team. So we're going to break down who the heck Jake Lavaria is, why this was such a good move for the Sacramento Kings, and why Sacramento really hit on all their goals, all their targets ahead of this year's trade deadline. So lots of stuff to dive into. But folks, you guys want to stay up to date with everything going on with the Sacramento Kings and don't want to miss a single thing, make sure you guys hit that subscribe button because we're delivering all of the latest Sacramento Kings news and updates here on Kings Digest. But let's dive into it because at the very close to this year's trade deadline, we got an update essentially revealing that the Kings are acquiring Jake Lavaria from Memphis. Sources tell me. So it's coming from Chris Haynes, and this was very exciting. So the Kings inserted themselves into a multi-team trade that included the Wizards, included the Grizzlies, included a bunch of other teams. So it wasn't actually clear right when the trade deadline was happening in terms of what would be the actual return or what would be going out from Sacramento. But the deal that was sent away, of course, there's a couple guys that are friendly faces that you grow accustomed to. But basically, the Kings end up sending out a 2028 second rounder to Memphis, plus Colby Jones and Alex Len to Washington to acquire the Grizzlies' Jake Lavaria as a part of the Marcus Smart trade. So a big multi-team deal that ended up going down. So this is very, very exciting because Jake Lavaria might not be a household name across the NBA, but this dude is really good at basketball. And even though he had a lackluster rookie season out there for the Memphis Grizzlies, he's actually been very, very solid for the team and has gotten better every single year since. So basically, who the heck is this guy? What's he doing out there on the court? So Jake Lavaria this season's averaging 7 points per game, 4.4 rebounds, 3 assists, and you could see these numbers. 44% from behind the three-point line. He's shooting 39% out there in the corners, and he is just 23 years old. Now, shooting white guy out there, are we sure he's going to be a good two-way 3-and-D player? The way I already made my video on today, more moves coming. The Kings are looking for a 3-and-D guy. This dude is a 3-and-D guy. This guy is fully hustle, full energy, and while he might get, laterally blown by a little bit, and he is, in terms of his frame and size, he is 6'8", one of these types of pieces, but really, this dude has a proper impact out here on the team. I mean, I broke down this in a video earlier today. I'm hearing hope is that a 3-and-D wing coming to Sacramento will complete the new looked retooled the new look Kings. And Jake Lavaria is certainly that guy. And he had a really nice quote that had me excited. Basically said, "I wouldn't consider myself fast in short distance, but I am hustling. I am playing hard every time I'm out there on the court, and I'm not really taking plays off. If there's a fast break opportunity for the other team, some guys might get out of the way. I'm sprinting back and making a play on the ball. Whenever I'm off the ball, I am sprinting." So this guy is looking at what Memphis Grizzlies fans had to say about him. They loved his hustle, his energy, the intensity that he brought to the game. And of course, the shooting numbers speak for themselves. The guy's an elite shooter, and it seems like a good dude. I mean, this guy, what's coming to Sacramento, ended up just immediately putting up like the beam, baby, lighting the beam. He's fully bought in. He's excited to be coming here to the Sacramento Kings team, and that's exactly what you want from your new acquisition. So he hustles on the defensive end. He brings it out there in terms of hustle and energy. His stats prove that he is a really, really good three-point shooter, shooting 44% from the three-point line. Of course, there's the tax that comes with being on the Sacramento Kings because so many good three-point shooters come here and then struggle to shoot the basketball. So hopefully this will not be the case for Jake coming into this squad, but is exactly what the Kings were looking for to close off this trade deadline, and of course didn't have to give up too much in the way of assets. Of course, a 28 second rounder, those are always questionable because they, depending on how good your team is, that is what it is. But a 23-year-old prospect coming up, that's much more valuable than a second rounder. And then, Colby Jones struggled to get in the rotation. And then Alex Len, of course, with Jonas Valanciunas coming in. Len was important for this group for a very, very long time because, there's been a lack of depth out there at the center position for this squad for multiple seasons. So having Alex Len out there has been a nice insurance piece, but with Jonas Valanciunas coming in, he came a little bit more redundant out there to have out there on the roster. So wishing especially the best for Alex Len, gave some serviceable minutes for multiple seasons there for Sacramento, but of course, Jonas Valanciunas, not the major hit it may have taken, prior. But with this signing now, with Jake being added to the mix, Monte McNair Again, I was frustrated with the return from De'Aaron Fox, and maybe it's biased, maybe it is what it is. I thought there should have been more draft capital in return for De'Aaron Fox, or at least a Jeremy Sohan, Devin Vassell, one of those interesting, Julian Champagnie, one of these guys, right? Like one of these guys coming back for an all-star caliber player in De'Aaron Fox, but we did get Zach LaVine, so that is a nice addition and multiple firsts, but you know, it is what it is. I'm not gonna spout more, but overall, I think the Kings had a pretty good trade deadline. Acquiring Jonas Valanciunas for next to nothing, bolsters that front court depth of a legitimate NBA rotation player, and now acquiring Jake Lavaria at what looks like a heist of a move, a heist of a contract, especially with his youth, his age, his elite three-point shooting, the intensity, the hustle that he brings out there on the defensive end. Right? The three pillars, the three things that I've been talking about out here on these videos that the Kings need to improve on. It's firstly the three-point shooting. You do that now with Zach LaVine and Jake Lavaria being added to your group. Heck, even Jonas Valanciunas can knock down some three-point shots, which is what you like to see. So, and that's one thing, that's one direction, one dimension that need to be fixed. The bench depth, I think the bench depth has been solved. Like, Jake is going to be able to come off the bench. Of course, you lost De'Aaron Fox, but you added in Zach LaVine there at this point. So you're adding in two extra front court rotation players, which is exactly what the Kings needed. I mean, the Kings are loaded in the backcourt with now Malik Monk, Zach LaVine, DeMar DeRozan, Keon Ellis, so many guys that can come out there and play those types of positions. So, but now the forward spots are pretty well rounded as well. Of course, you're gonna have Domas out there in the front court, Keegan Murray, doing their things out there. I'm not sure what Jonas is going to come off the bench. We'll keep the regular starting unit, but Jonas will come off the bench. Jake will come off the bench, and you still have Jones out there to muck it up out there, be a pest out there on the defensive end. So I think all notes, like Monte McNair did the best with what he could, was dealing with a star player demanding a trade. Of course, probably some more draft capital would be ideal. Jeremy Sohan would have really made this an A+ trade deadline, but the Spurs weren't forced into a situation where they had to make that deal. So I get the leverage side. Some of you guys in the comments and reading different places talked me into just more acceptance of that De'Aaron Fox trade than was before. I'm also excited to see Zach LaVine in some Kings threads, but it's overall the 3-point shooting has improved. The defense, the depth, has improved, and the defense is still questionable because Jonas, again, the mobility is a question mark. Jake Lavaria is a hustle energy guy, but struggled as a defender coming into the NBA, but I think it's still going to be a net positive out there on the defensive end. It's not perfect now at this point, but definitely rebounding has improved because there's more depth out there in the front court. So it's all on Christie now to get the most out of this group, get the most out of this lineup. Of course, you're going to have ups and downs, motivated games, and like with a new team getting ingratiated, I'm not worried about that Orlando Magic loss. I'm interested to see how this team plays over the coming weeks and see how things fall into place. But let me know what you guys think about all this in the comment section down below. You guys best thank the stars. Subscribe to the channel if you guys haven't already. Anyways, I'm signing out. Cheers.